Okay, so getting started. My talk is Am I an Imposter? My name's Warren. I'm a few other things. Hold on. And it's not playing. Crap. That's why. I'm in the wrong window. Hold on. Everybody's got to fail a demo at least once. This was even just the slides. There. Cool. There we go. These are just a few things of what I am. Today, I wanted to get up and tell my story. I've been following InfoSec for a couple of years. I've spent endless hours reading articles and articles just like these, how to get started, where to find your place. I've been watching con videos just as much, thanks to Adrian and people like him. So I finally figured out that I made it into being an InfoSec professional. I have a wonderful title, but ever since I've started doing this professionally, I wasn't sure, I wasn't comfortable, I didn't believe that it was actually a thing. I felt like I was faking it. I felt like I was claiming to be something I wasn't. So it took a lot of thinking, a lot of perspective, a lot of looking around at what I was doing, not thinking about the name of the things that I was doing, and that's how I understood what's happening. So becoming an actual real-life security professional came from sharing knowledge, came from learning, it came from growing, understanding, it came from interacting and being part of the community here. The community is who we are, it's how we grow, it's how I grew. It sounds very, very sunshine, hand-holding, and rainbows, but it's the fact. That's why this con exists. That's why everybody can get to this con, or B-sides, or anything like that. So here's my backstory, and hopefully you can take as much from it as I've taken from other people giving this sort of a talk. Getting into IT, I thought I had made it when I became a sysadmin. Ever since I'd started using computers when I was a little kid, I wanted to know more about them. I wanted to learn how to connect them, how to do more with them, how to take them apart, how to put them back together, doing all of that. That kind of stuff got me into being a sysadmin. So once I was comfortable being a sysadmin, now I wanted to grow again. I wanted to learn the next harder challenge, the next more interesting thing. The only thing more difficult that I've found in computing, or even comparable, is security. Not only do you have to know how all the systems work, you have to know what can break them, what can put them back together, and what can make them tougher to deal with. So I had decided I wanted to work in IT, and a little bit more than a year later, I felt like I had made it. I'd become a sysadmin. I had that title. I felt like I was pretty junior level until I looked at it again, took a little bit of perspective. I didn't have 20 years experience, but I had 18 months working in a small company that faced the internet. So we had web apps, we had storefronts, we had ordering systems, we had all that. That taught me a lot. That taught me a lot of how hard it is to do these sorts of things and what kind of stuff you have to pay attention to. I had dealt with budget problems, security, infrastructure upgrades, user support, business support, arguing for money, arguing against things. All this stuff I had to deal with directly. I had to learn about architecture. I had to learn about dealing with vendors. I had to learn about what it takes to implement things, from databases to front ends, to user support, to desktop support, everything. I had to document it all. I had to sell it all to the business. I had to be accountable for every piece of it that we had put together. All these things work together. They prepared me to understand what becoming a real security professional is. So what is that? Why do I keep saying a real professional with hand-wavy quotes and all that? Following the community, the more I read in blogs, read on Twitter, things I watched in con videos, the more interested I got. All this stuff led me here. It led me to a conference. And what's the most interesting popular talks? What do most people wait in lines for to see at a con? War stories. You'll never believe this cool thing I did breaking into a business. You'll never see all this stuff we dumped from a simple SQL injection that they left on a web page they forgot they had. It's all red team. It's all offensive security. It's actually hackers like in movies. People are getting into corporate systems. They're doing stuff. So from the beginning, I think subconsciously, that's what I figured the real path of being a security professional was. I didn't think I could be part of that until I was doing it, breaking it, analyzing it, reporting to the business what was wrong and how to fix it. I had heard all the talks and listened to all these ideas, but for a while, that was all the stuff that I thought was in my future. That's all I thought you had to do or could do to make it. But it doesn't work that way. I had been working as a sysadmin for a while, but I was working in a QA department. I was still supporting people, still administering computers, still maintaining networks, distributing resources, making things available for people to do their jobs. And this was good work. It was a great job, pretty fulfilling. And I worked at a profitable software company, which is a great place to work because they just throw money at people all the time. Oh, you want to try this new thing? Here's money. Go do it. We have money. We make profits. But I was still looking forward, still keeping up on Twitter, still reading all these blog posts, still trying to go to and watching con videos. And looking around at our organization, there wasn't really any security being applied to the product. There definitely wasn't any application and growth. Some people thought of it. There were a couple people who worked towards it, but it was never a formalized thing. So, again, one of the perks of being at a company like that is they value our employees over our metrics. So, when I asked my boss, I said, look, I want to try harder things, but I'm not sure there's a place for this. He said, let's build it. We always need security. We always need to improve our product. If we have somebody inside who's passionate, we can work on all the rest. So that's what we did. I didn't become a pen tester. I didn't even learn how to break any web apps or ours in particular. There was an old proposal that an intern had written bringing software security into our QA department by distributing knowledge. So me and a couple others, we started a group of security champions. We found people interested. We recruited people who thought they were interested. We got them in a room together. We started discussing stuff. And we tried to find the group with as broad a range of interest, experience, understanding as we could get. Because I had only been working at the company 2 years. They'd been writing software for 20. There's people who had been there for pretty close to that. So we needed that kind of backup. We needed that kind of diversity to understand how to make our security better. So how did we build security into the product? How did we build these champions? The same way I had built the knowledge and passion in myself. I read blog posts. We read Twitter posts. We read news stories. We discussed what that meant to our product. We watched other people's failures, other people's successes. We discussed how those could get put together, how those could get integrated into our QA process, our development life cycle, everything. We set simple goals. Something that would show the company we were serious about what we were doing. We were learning, what we were committing to their success. A Security Plus certificate doesn't really mean a whole lot in the real world. However, to our group, it was significant. It was an achievable goal. It brought everybody on the same baseline about security concepts, their execution, maybe not even stuff directly applicable, but it built us into a team. We started doing hands-on training. Practice. We attacked our app with things like Burp Suite. We used available vulnerable VMs for practice, so things like OWASP, broken web apps. We started learning techniques together about how to analyze the traffic, what you can do with sessions, things like that. We worked on war games. We've built a couple of practice CTFs. Things to understand the different ways to apply your knowledge, to take things apart, to put them back together, and to see what's happening in between. And this is, again, as a group, as a team. We have a team of champions who relate to one another. They don't do the same thing when they go back to their desks, but they tell their team about what they did. They tell them what kind of fun stuff we did, where we're looking to grow the product. So the champions are growing. They're spreading stuff to their teams. As a counterpart to QA, we have a development department. Not long after we started our QA champions, we found a security team that was growing in development too. So, of course, we are all working together. We are all working on one product, so we joined forces. Now we have endorsement. Now we have reinforcement. The development group, now we have technical expertise. We have guys who can read the code, who can write the code, who can go argue with developers about how features are implemented. So now we've grown. We're not just learning about techniques. We're auditing the code. We're analyzing reports we get from outside, proving the bugs are real, proving we're vulnerable, and fixing them, working together. And those practice CTFs, those practice war games, now we're doing them together with the security champions and the dev champions. It's not adversarial. We're all trying to build a better product together. So working together with the development engineers, we're implementing a security development lifecycle. We're learning together how to bake security into a development environment. And this environment's been around for 20 years. There's not a lot of technical problems to be solved, but we have people problems, concept problems, ideological problems. The biggest one is people don't want to change. We've never done new things, then we would do new things. So we're having to work on that. We have buy-in at the executive level to keep moving forward, but we also have to argue features. We can't make everything more secure. We can't default to a 30-character password policy, SSL all the things, super high encryption. We have to balance our needs versus the customer's needs. But now there's somebody championing this, somebody arguing it. We're taking steps forward every release, every cycle to build more security in. We're not done. I don't know if there's a done with our product. It's mature. It hits a lot of different verticals, all those marketing words. We have 12,000 plus customers. It's going to take years, but we're moving forward. 2 years ago, there was one guy maybe kind of arguing a feature every now and again when he thought of something. So we're moving forward. Now people know there's a security group. They know we care about the product, that we're building it correctly from the beginning, that we're making it secure. And we're successful. Every time we have bigger meetings outside of our department or even with people who've been around, they say that all the other things have failed because after a couple of meetings, people lose interest. After a couple years, nobody pays attention. We're 18 months in and going stronger than ever. So we're winning, kind of. But back to the title, why does this make me feel like an imposter? On one level, it's still hard to fathom that we're making any difference at all in our situation, in our software, in our users. The imposter syndrome, according to Wikipedia, is a phenomenon where people are unable to internalize their accomplishments. Sometimes I don't feel like a pro. Sometimes I don't feel like a hacker. I don't spend all day in Metasploit. I don't pop boxes. I don't get shells. I don't pick locks. I don't red team. But I'm increasing the security of our product. I'm teaching other people to be into security, inspiring that passion, giving them the tools to be better than I am. And because of that, our 12,000 customers and growing, our software, everyone using our stuff is going to reap these rewards. It's hard to believe that we've done this just by having meetings, just by having discussions, spinning up a couple of VMs, downloading some free software. But we're doing it. We're finding bugs. We're fixing flawed designs before they're implemented. And we're encouraging the passion, encouraging the drive, encouraging people to go out there and look at other security in articles, failures, breaches, success stories, cons we've never heard of, things like that. And we're increasing the understanding of everybody responsible for our software. We've reached out to our sales and marketing, and we're becoming the reference point, not just for the security of our product, but for security. People like Ben 10, Dave Kennedy, I'm sure countless others whose talks I haven't gotten to watch yet, they talk about security awareness being the best way to succeed. You turn a company of 15,000 people into 15,000 liabilities, you now have 15,000 security champions. We're trying to do that. We're approachable. All of the security people, all the champions, we ask questions. We encourage people to ask us questions. And then we try and answer those as promptly and as honestly as we can. A couple of months ago, we hosted an open forum. We had every member of the security team, every champion we could get, and invited every department in the company. Sales, marketing, legal, HR, anyone. They could come ask us any questions about what is security in the software. How do you make more secure implementations, installations? What are we doing to make it better? How are we addressing our customer complaints? We know the problems we see from our point of view, the one in QA and development. The view we see building it is not the same thing that people see selling it, installing it, maintaining it. We hope to learn from the rest of the company just as much as we wanted to teach. We hope to get everyone's questions in the open and show them that we are concerned. We want to know. Even if we can't answer your question, we put that as a disclaimer. We might not have the answer that night, but we will take your questions and we will respond. The event was a success. We had a couple of dozen people and they asked real questions. We recorded it on our intranet so that people can reference the video. We made a blog post so people can search it and find the answers and the questions they had. The questions were easy though. They wanted to know why we do things, how we do things. And would we help them answer more questions they didn't think of? The answer was yes. Our boss, our VP, everyone who saw that and saw the questions and the people who showed up said it was a success. We have another one scheduled for the next quarter, and until people stop showing up, we're going to keep doing it. We've made ourselves and the security of our product better by being open and ready to answer the questions of it. So that's where I'm going to end. It's not really the end of the story, but it's the end of today. I feel like I've achieved becoming an information security and a software security specialist. I'm a professional. I don't spend all day in a shell. I don't spend all day writing reports. I spend time in meetings. I write a lot of PowerPoints. I have a lot of discussions. I answer RFP questions. But if it's not as fun as breaking stuff, it's pretty fun to have a job I enjoy. I get to practice everything I teach. I get to walk through a lot of the fun stuff that people find we're training because we're verifying the bugs. We're learning from people learning from us. So the only metric we have for a success, it's kind of hard to explain without losing people, and we're kind of afraid to tell our VPs. But the number of security bugs we've found in the last year has skyrocketed. This can only be blamed on our growth. 2 years ago, the only security bugs we had reported were 1 or 2 impassioned developers, or they came from our customers who found them with a pen test, which is the worst possible way to find security in your product. But now we have dozens of people internally looking every day to find these bugs and find these things before we ship it, before we announce it, before we finish it. So now we're busy with security at all phases of the life cycle, and it's encouraging to see most of our problems. We're finding them before other people can. We're fixing them before our customers learn they exist. And that's really all I have. So thank you all for coming. Anybody got a question? All right. Done a couple of minutes early. Thank you.